Hi everyone. Today we are going to see in our session the topic called bills of exchange. This is also asked in the HSC board. Near about 20 marks were there, which is most important big chapter. Here, what is to be considered in this chapter that is called our agenda of this session. Here, we are going to consider first of all introduction of the bill of exchange. What do you mean by bill of exchange? There are different terms are there, certain concepts are there that we have to follow first, and then we can further go ahead. Next, there is a pro forma of a bill of exchange is there in the examination, the 12th standard. It is asked for near about 5 marks, and you should score 5 out of 5. And how to solve this type of problems. There are 2-3 ways by which we want to solve the problems. Introduction of the bill of exchange. Bill of exchange is coming from, it is a negotiable instrument. It is given in the NI Act, that is 1881. Therefore, we can say, according to the Section 5 of Negotiable Instrument Act 1881, it defines bill of exchange. A bill of exchange is an instrument in writing containing an unconditional order signed by the maker directing a certain person to pay certain sum of money only to or to the order of a certain person or to the bearer of the instrument. You must know the definition very well. This definition gives the features of the bill of exchange itself. There is Act, that is Negotiable Instrument Act of 1881. What it gives? A bill of exchange is an instrument in writing. It should be in writing. Oral instrument is not allowed. Containing an unconditional order. There should not be any condition to fulfill that transaction. It should be signed by the maker, the person who prepares it, who makes it, who draws it, should sign it. Directing a certain person to pay certain sum of money. He has to make the payment, a certain sum of money only to that particular person, or to the order of a particular person, or to the bearer, the person who bears, that is called as bearer. According to the NI Act, once the bearer is always bearer. Anyhow, that will be seen at the time of the Negotiable Instrument Act. Now, this definition itself gives the features. What are the features? That it should be in writing, it must be stamped as per the Stamp Act 1899. Stamp Act was there, 1899. According to that, you'll have to make the stamping to the bill of exchange. A bill of exchange must be dated, having certain sum of money. You'll have to write proper 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 1 lakh, 20 lakhs, whatever may be the case. There should not be any condition, that is called unconditional must be there. It must be signed by the maker. Amount must be payable either to a certain person or his order or to the bearer of the bill. All these are the features of bill of exchange. Now, bill of exchange may be classified mainly into how many parts? 4 parts. That is, one is trade bill, another is accommodation bill, third one is inland bill, and last foreign bill. Trade bill is common for purchasing the goods on a credit. Trade bill is done. Accommodation bill, there is no any amount is to be payable for consideration. Here the amount is to be payable for consideration. To accommodate ourselves, it is there. Next, inland bill means the parties, the drawer, drawee, etc. of the bill of exchange are in the same country. And foreign bill means one party is one country and another party is another country. Further, we can say these bills are divided into again 3 parts. That is, after date bill, further it can be after date bill, another is after side bill, and bill payable on demand. But we can say it is demand. After date bill is a bill. It is to be calculated from the date on which the bill is drawn. Here the 3 days as a grace are to be allowed. Whereas after side bill, from the date of the acceptance, the period is to be calculated. Here also grace days are allowed. Whereas on demand, demand bill is to be on a demand basis. Whenever it is demanded, we like to make the payment for that particular bill. No 3 days will be added grace days. Now what is that grace days, etc. we are going to consider. This is actually required more explanation in detail but that will be seen in the Negotiable Instrument Act. For here, I have given very shortly all this part of the bill. Now, next part we are going to consider here, that is, what are different terms are there for the bill of exchange. First, drawer, second, drawee, third, payee. I have made a marking here because these three are parties. These three are the parties to the bill of exchange. These three are parties to the bill of exchange. Now, what is the drawer? Drawer is a person who draws a bill, who makes a bill. He is creditor. Keep in mind, he is creditor. Whereas drawee is a person who accepts the bill. Who accepts the bill, he is debtor because he has to make a payment to the drawer. Who is a payee? Payee is a person to whom the amount of the bill is to be payable. Sometimes drawer and payee may be the same person. I repeat, drawer is a person who draws a bill, he is a creditor. Drawee is a person who accepts the bill, he is a debtor. And payee is a person to whom the amount of the bill is to be payable. Now, what is the grace dates? Grace dates are those dates which are to be calculated at the time of the due date. As per the Act, 3 days are to be added while calculating the due date of the bill. How many days will have to calculate? 3 days is to be added. That is called grace days. Only in case of demand bill, it is not to be added. Otherwise, after date bill, after side bill, it is to be added. What is your due or maturity date of the bill? Due or maturity date means suppose a bill is drawn for a 3 months. After 3 months, whatever the date comes, that is called your maturity date or due date of the bill, on which date drawee has to make a payment to the last holder of due course. Or in other words, we can say it is to make the payment when the bill is to be demanded on that particular date by the last holder of the date. Therefore, due date is the most important. What is honoring or maturity of bill? When bill is presented to the drawee on a due date and drawee makes the payment, that is called he honored the payment. That is, he honored the bill. That is, amount paid by the drawee to the last holder in a due course is called honoring of a bill. Dishonoring of bill. Opposite honoring, dishonoring. When a drawee refuses, denies to make the payment of the bill which he had accepted due to whatever may be the reason, not only the cash amount availability, but any other reason, if he denies, he doesn't make the payment to the person who presents the bill, that is called dishonoring of a bill. Now, what is your noting charges? Noting charges means the charges which are paid at the time of dishonor of a bill. When drawee doesn't make the payment of the bill, then in that case, the last holder in a due course, maybe drawer also there, what he does, he calls the notary public. To whom it is to be called? To the notary public. Now, who is a notary public? He is a public, he or she may be a public servant, which is appointed by central or state government under Section 3 of the Notaries Act 1952. Notary public has to make the bill is to be noted and protested. What do you mean by noted and protested? In simple words, we can say drawee has to declare that he is not in a position to make the payment of the bill, and therefore for that transaction, whatever the amount is charged by the notary public is called noting charges. That the fees which were charged by the notary public is called noting charges. Noting charges were paid the last holder who is there at that time to be paid by that fellow to the notary public, and lastly it is recovered from the drawee because non-payment is made by the drawee, hence that charges were charged. What is discounting of a bill? Suppose the bill is for 3 months, 2 months, and not possible to wait for 3 months. Then in that case, Drawer or a last person who is there in a due course can discount the bill with the bank. He can go to this bank and can discount it. Means will get the amount immediately of the bill. For example, 10,000 rupees bill is there, bank is going to charge their amount, that is discounting amount, and suppose the person will get 9,900, means 100 rupees will be charged as a discount charges, and on due date bank will go to the drawee and will collect the amount. That is called discounting of bill of exchange. What do you mean by bill sent to bank for collection? In case of bill sent to bank collection, the amount will be received on due date and not immediately. This is the difference between the discounting and bill sent to bank for collection. When a person is not in a possible to collect the amount on due date, maturity date from the drawee, then in that case, what he does, he send the bill to the bank for collection, and on maturity date, bank goes to the drawee and collect the amount and will be given to that particular person. For that, obviously, bank charges certain amount as the bank charges. That is called bill sent to bank for collection. Next one is here endorsement. Endorsement plays a vital role. There are different types of endorsements are there, near about 8 to 10 types of endorsements are there. But endorsement means giving, transferring the bill from one person to another person. It's called endorsement. Backside of the bill, the last drawer or a last person in a due course makes the signature and pay to so and so person, writes and does his signature. That will be called as a endorsement. We are going to see later in this session only what is exactly how the endorsement is done. That is known endorsement means the bill is passes to another person. There is no limit up to the due date. You can pass on the bill and it is not compulsory to make the endorsement too. And that's why I have told sometimes the drawer and payee may be the same. What is a period? That is a term. It may be in months. It may be what? In months, or it may be in days. If it is within a month, 3 months, 2 months, that is the period of the bill, that the drawee has to make a payment to the drawer. Debtor has to make a payment to the creditor for getting that period of credit, because creditor, that is the drawer, sold goods to drawee on credit for a period 90 days, 60 days, 20, 45 days, or 2 months, whatever may be the case. Now, here comes retirement. Retirement means what? When drawee finds that, if suppose the bill is for 3 months, after 2 months, after 1 month, means before the due date of the bill, if drawee finds that I can make the payment of the bill earlier, that is called retirement. Means making the payment of the bill prior to due date will be called retirement of bill. Obviously, the drawee will demand from the drawer certain amount because he had made the payment earlier. That is called rebate or discount. Meaning is the same. Rebate or discount. That is known as what? Retirement. Rebate or discount. It is there, isn't it? This will be used for renewal too, and that's why it is given after retirement and renewal rebate or discount. What do you mean by renewal? Suppose a drawee finds that prior to or on a due date, we can say, not in a position to make the payment of the bill to the drawer or a last person in a due course, then he requests to the drawer that please renew the bill. For that purpose, he is ready to make the payment for interest for the further period and sometimes may make the part payment of the bill. Part payment of the bill sometimes makes or sometimes doesn't make, whereas interest is to be payable on the renewal, that is renewal interest is called, that is to be paid by the drawee to the drawer, which is more than that of what it is required. And just we have told what is rebate, what is discount. Am I right? That is most important. These are the different required terms which is necessary to solve the problems and that we have seen it. After different terms, there is compulsory question for your pro forma of a bill of exchange. Pro forma of bill of exchange, this carries 5 marks and you can score Very easily. 5 marks. First, on the left side, you must have a rectangle. A very small square should be there, and it should be written as stamp. STAMP. You should not prepare the circle or any other. Stamp is there. Next, amount is given. Everything is given in the problem. Amount, whatever is given, that you have to write in figure. Suppose it is 10,000. We'll have to put here 10,000. Okay. Next, right hand side, we'll have to write name and address of drawer. It is also there in the problem. Who draws a bill? He is a drawer. His name and address is to be written here. Next, date of the bill. Again, last session I have told you how to write the date. Again, today I am telling you how to write date. Date is to be written in this manner. That is 1st January 2023 or 18th December 2022. This is the way of writing what we can say date. Write in this manner only date. After this, that is called date of the bill. This is known as what? Date of the bill. Then here it is blank given. We'll have to write the period. That is, suppose 3 months is there. We'll have to put here 3. Don't write 3 in this manner, which is wrong. What we have to write? 3 in this manner. You'll have to write in words. 3 months. Oblique I have written days. If it is 60 days, then you have to write 60 days after a date. If months is there, then you have to write 3 months after a date. Okay. As per that, we'll have to keep the word here and that we have to remove it. After a date, paid to me, that is to be payable to me if the pay is not given in the problem. But if the pay is given in the problem, then don't write pay to me. You'll have to write pay to the name of the pay and its address. Name of the pay and its address. Suppose it is to be payable to Mr. C, then you'll have to write 3 months after date, pay to Mr. C, 112 Bandra, Mumbai, that the address whatever is given. Or if it is to me, you'll have to write my order, and if the pay is there, Mr. C is Mr., then you'll have to write or his order, or in case of lady, you'll have to write or her order. As per the problem, you'll have to write it. The sum of rupees. Here, we'll have to put what? In words. Rupees 10,000 only. Amount in words to be written. Here only is I have given already. For the value received. Here we have put SD. SD means signature. Signature of what? Drawer. He is the person who draws the bill. Therefore, after drawing the bill, he has to put his signature and into bracket write the name of drawer. Then it is submitted to the drawee. That is called, he is a dater. He has to make a signature. Before that, he has to write accepted. Accepted, I have given by this way. You may have a straight also, there is no problem. But the word accepted must be there. Before acceptance of the bill, it is called, most important, that is draft. This is called as what? Draft. But after acceptance, that will become as a bill of exchange. Then after accepting, he has to put a signature. And he has to write his name, whatever is there, above the drawing. Now, suppose nothing is given in the problem, then these 2 lines should be kept blank. But suppose bill is drawn for 10,000 and he is ready to make only the payment of rupees 9,800, then he'll have to put here for rupees 9,800. Means he had accepted bill for 9,800. Or suppose the date is given is, suppose we can say 5th December is there, 2022. And he had accepted a bill on, suppose, 7th December 2022. Then he has to put that 7th December 2022 because the date, that is a 3 months, will be started not from 5th December. It will be started from 7th December. That is most important. And whenever he writes this type of the conditions, it is what? Conditional acceptance. This is accepted signature. And if suppose everything is blank, then only we will write name and address of the drawee. And lastly here, left hand side, to name and address of drawee is to be taken. This is called the proforma of a bill of exchange, which is most important and is going to be asked for how many? 5 marks in the examination. Okay. Now our next part, I'm going to give your example how it works. Now see here, Mr. A is there as usual, Mr. B is there. A sold goods to Mr. B. In this part, I'm going to explain you and then later how, with considering this example, we are going to solve the problem that is by journal entries to be solved in different books. Okay, sold goods of rupees 10,000, that is on what? Credit to Mr. B. Is it there? Therefore, what happened? A becomes seller. B becomes what? Buyer. It's a very simple term. That is, you know it very well. For a period of suppose 3 months, B told to Mr. A that I am going to make a payment after 3 months. A accepted that all these 3 months payment. But what he says, please accept the bill, whatever I am going to draw, and therefore Mr. A draws a bill for 3 months on Mr. B. Therefore, A becomes here what? Drawer. He is a what? Drawer. Because who is a drawer? Who draws a bill? He is what? Creditor. He is what? Creditor. Why is creditor? Because he has to receive money from Mr. B. Whereas the bill is accepted by the B and therefore he becomes a drawee, that is also called as what? Acceptor, and B has to make a B payment of this to the A, and that's why he becomes what? Debtor. Who becomes a debtor? Mr. B becomes what? Debtor. Next, here it is. Once the bill is accepted, it is returned to Mr. A. Now, that bill will be called as a bill receivable in the books of A, because the amount is receivable. That's why it's going to say bill receivable, and B has to make a payment, and therefore he has going to write here for the same bill, bills payable. That we have to keep in mind. Bill payable is there only in the books of Drawee, and in other books it is called as bills receivable. Only in the books of Drawee it is called bills payable, and other books it is called bills receivable. Now after accepting, it is sent to Mr. A. Now the bill is with the whom? Mr. A. Now keep in mind, while solving the problems of bill of exchange, you will have to keep the concentration on the bill, where the bill goes. If it comes in, what is the rule of the real account? Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. If it comes in, then you have to give the debit. If it goes out, you have to give the credit. Therefore, here the bill receivable comes to Mr. A. Now, Mr. A becomes a debtor in case of Mr. C, because Mr. A has to make a payment to Mr. C. Then in that case, Mr. A can endorse that bill to Mr. C. That is called endorsement. Mr. A, what he does? He has to make a payment to Mr. C for rupees 10,000. Then he makes a signature. Mr. A makes a signature on the back of the bill receivable paid to Mr. C, and that will be given to Mr. C. The person who endorses the bill will be called as an endorser. The person who endorses the bill is called as an endorser, and to whom the bill is endorsed will be called as a endorsee. Here in this problem, Mr. A becomes endorser because he endorses a bill, and Mr. C becomes endorsee because he got a bill from Mr. A. Now, there are two ways. Either Mr. C can discount the bill with the bank, or he directly goes to the drawee, that is Mr. B, on due date. He goes to Mr. B and can collect on due date amount from the B. Or if he want, Mr. C want early payment of the bill, he can goes to the bank and can discount the bill with the bank. Bank will make the payment after deducting the discount to the Mr. C, and on maturity or as on due date, bank presents that bill to Mr. B and collect the amount from Mr. B. That is called as what? Discounting of a bill of exchange. Sometimes Mr. C is not in a hurry. Therefore, he can send the bill to the bank for collection. On due date of that particular bill, bank goes to Mr. B and collect the amount. Now, there is an option to Mr. B that on due date, Mr. B may honor the bill or he may dishonor the bill. Suppose we can say very simply, honoring of the bill means Mr. B makes the payment either to Mr. C or to Mr. Banker, anybody else. There is no payment, that is, payment is made, the question doesn't arise. But in case of dishonors, suppose Mr. C goes to Mr. whom B and demands on maturity, and Mr. B is not in a position to make the payment, that is called dishonor of bill. Obviously, Mr. C, just I have explained you, is going to call whom, that is notary public, and the bill is noted and protested. For that purpose, whatever the charges is charged is called as what? Noting charges, which is paid by C. Ultimately, it is to be recovered from Drawee. In this case, entries will be again reversed, and that is from C to A and A to B will be the entries. Overall, such type of the problems are there in the examination, and first we will consider how to calculate the due date, and then we are going to consider the problem by considering this example. In this case, we are going to consider the calculation of due date. How the due date is to be calculated. For example, here it is given, date of the bill is provided 15th January 2022, and the period is given 3 months. Means we'll have to calculate from 3 months, from 15th January, 3 months, what will be your date. It is to be written, as you know it very well, DD MM year. What is our date? That is 15th January 2022. In this, how many months we'll have to consider? We'll have to consider here 3 months. Therefore, that 3 months we have added here. Therefore, January means first month, 1 plus 3, 4. 15th April 2022, that is the period we have added. As per the act, we'll have to add 3 days more. That 3 days is to be added, and your 15 plus 3 days, that is 18. Therefore, your due date becomes 18th April 2022. I repeat, 15th January, add 3 months, therefore it becomes 15th April, add 3 days, it is called 18th April 2022. Suppose days are given and not the month. Suppose it is given the date of bill is 2nd March 2022 and the days are given 70 days. What will be your date? Take the March dates. There are 31 days are there in the month of March. From that, this second means less 2. You are remaining how many days for the month of March? 29. Therefore, you will have to calculate after 70 days. Therefore, take the 70 days minus for the month of March 29 days as you have calculated here. 70 minus 29, it becomes 41. Afterwards, after March, there is which month? April is there. For April, there are how many days are there? There are 30 days and we want 41 days. Therefore, 30 days can be deducted from this 41. Therefore, what remains? 11 days we are remaining. And this 11 days will be there for the next month. March, April, after April, there is which month? May. Therefore, it comes 11th May. But we'll have to add 3 days as a grace days. And therefore, it becomes 14th. 14th of May. Isn't it? 14th of May. Therefore, your due date becomes 14th May 2022. This is an example I have given how to calculate the days. Secondly, you'll have to keep in mind, if your due date falls on a national holiday, then in that case, public holiday, we can say it falls on a public holidays, then it will be make the payment prior to that days. That is, suppose there are 2 public holidays, 15th August and 26th January. If the bill falls on 15th August, you'll have to make a payment on which date? 14th August, public holiday. 26th January, we'll have to make the payment on 25th January. This is rule and we have to do it. That is called as what? Calculation of due date. Whenever the nominal due date are there, as well as legal due date are there. Nominal due date means what? Without adding the days of grace, it is called nominal due date. This is your nominal due date in this example. And in this example, it is your 11th May will be the nominal. And after adding 3 days grace will be called as a legal due date. After this, now we'll have to see the journal entries as in our example. We have seen it that Mr. A sold goods to Mr. B. A becomes a drawer because he draws a bill for 3 months on Mr. B. Therefore, when A sold goods to Mr. B, obviously the entry will come. Mr. B's account debit to sales account 10,000, 10,000. B is the personal account, debit receiver, he receives the goods, sales is to be credited, being sold goods to Mr. B on credit. Now, A draws a bill, unless and until bill is to be accepted, it is called as a draft, having no value. And once the bill is accepted by B, it is returned to Mr. A. Therefore, in the books of drawer, that bill is called as what? Bill receivable. Therefore, what comes in? Bill receivable comes in. Therefore, bill receivable account debit to credit the giver, that is Mr. B's account is to be your credited. Amount is 10,000 and 10,000. Now, I have already told, whenever the bill comes, it is to be debited. Whenever it goes out, it is to be credited. That we have to keep in mind. Being acceptance received from Mr. B. When Mr. A endorses bill to Mr. C, debit the receiver, Mr. C's account is to be debited and bill receivable account is to be credited 10,000, 10,000. After completing the problem, you have to take the total of the journal, every journal. Am I right? Every debit must have corresponding credit. Is it right? 30,000, 30,000. Use only one pen, nothing else. These are the entries in the books of drawer. Now we'll have to consider second journal is of Mr. B, that is a Drawee, with the data. In the books of B, we are going to write Drawee, and in the books of Drawee, the bill is called always bills payable. You'll have to write the date 2022, and then you have to put your month, whatever is there, Feb, Asude, whatever is there, Feb, and the date. Which is goods purchase, therefore purchases account debit to Mr. A's account, credit the giver 10,000, 10,000. Then he accepted the bill. In his book, that bill is called as a bill payable, therefore it is going away, that's why it is to be credited. Debit the receiver, Mr. A's account debit 10,000 to bill payable account 10,000. And when the on a maturity date, that is on due date, when bill comes and he honors the bill, Mr. B honors the bill, bill payable comes in, therefore it is to be debited, and cash on bank account goes out, therefore it is to be credited, and you'll have to take the total here of the journal. This is the problem, that is the Mr. B is there. Now, the third book, that is the endorser's book. As per our example, Mr. C is an endorsee, Mr. A is an endorser because A endorses B's acceptance to Mr. C. Therefore, here comes in bill to Mr. C, therefore bill receivable account debit to Mr. A's account, credit the giver 10,000, 10,000. If the bill is honored, Mr. C goes to Mr. B and demand for the amount of the bill on due date. That is most important. What comes in here? Cash or bank comes in and bill receivable goes out. In the endorsee also, you are going to write bill receivable. Only in the books of Drawee, it is called bill payable 10,000, 10,000. If the bill is dishonored, the entry will be reversed. But before that, if the bill is discounted with the bank by Mr. C, the entry will be what comes in cash or bank, and discount is suppose 100 is there. Cash or bank account debit 9,900, discount account debit 100 rupees, to bill receivable 10,000 because bill goes to the bank. Now, on due date, bank will go to Mr. B and collect the amount. Bank is going to make their entries, there is no problem. If suppose the bill is sent to the bank for collection, therefore the entry will be bill receivable goes out, therefore bill receivable account is to be credited, and it is not for discounting, it is sent to collection, therefore bill sent to bank for collection account debit 10,000 to bill receivable account. And when on the maturity date the amount comes, in that case you are going to credit the bill sent to bank account because you have first debited here, that's why I given A and then B on due date. What you received? Bank you received, and bank is going to deduct certain charges for this service rendered by the bank. Therefore, bank account debit 9,950, bank charges account debit 50 to bill sent to bank for collection account 10,000 is there. In case of dishonor of the bill of exchange, it reverse entries will have to pass. Sometimes in the examination, it is also told to in the books of drawer, you'll have to prepare journal and drawee's account. Sometimes in the books of drawee, you'll have to prepare journal and drawer's account. As per that, we'll have to prepare it and we'll have to solve the problem. Such type of the problems may be asked in the examination, and these are the basics I have given. If you are having any question, you may comment on this, and please like, share and subscribe for more videos. We are going to give for the 12th standard the videos on other subjects too. Thanking you.